All right, let's dive into something that hits home for, well, every single one of us. The massive amount of debt we're all carrying. It's a crisis that's been quietly building for years, and now, especially as we're here in 2026, the bill is finally truly coming due.
So let's just start with a number that should really stop you in your tracks. Total household debt in the US has hit a brand new record, soaring past $18 trillion. Yeah, that's trillion with a T. I mean, it's a figure so huge, it's honestly hard to even wrap your head around. But what does a number that big actually mean for you personally? Well, if you break it down, it comes out to over $104,000 in debt for the average American adult. And look, this isn't just some abstract government figure. This is a real heavy weight sitting on millions and millions of kitchen tables. And here's why right now is such a critical moment. For a long, long time, borrowing was cheap, and a lot of payments were even paused. But that era, it's over. Delinquencies are on the rise, collections have fully restarted, and millions of people are really starting to feel the squeeze as that bill finally comes due. Okay, so where is all this debt actually coming from? Let's peel back the layers on this $18 trillion monster and see what we're really truly dealing with. So the biggest piece of the pie, by a long shot, is mortgage debt. That's about $12.5 trillion right there. After that, you've got student loans and auto loans. But I want you to pay very close attention to that smaller, bright red slice, credit card debt. But here's the thing, the total amount of debt, that only tells you half the story. The real danger is hidden in the interest rates. Yeah, mortgages are the biggest balance, but just look at the rate for credit cards. We're talking over 21%. That's what makes the smaller slice of the pie the most financially toxic, dangerous debt of all. So now let's zero in on the two areas that are causing the absolute most pain for Americans right now. These are really the twin threats that have turned what was a long-term problem into a full-blown, immediate crisis. This really says it all, doesn't it? We went from this environment of super low interest rates and payment pauses, kind of like an artificial calm, smack into the harsh reality we're facing today. And that reality is defined by sky-high rates and the full restart of collections. That financial cushion so many people had, it's gone. Let's talk about maybe the single most toxic number in personal finance today, 21%. That is the average APR on credit card debt. It's a number that turns even small purchases into these long-term financial burdens and makes escaping that cycle of debt feel almost impossible. So just how bad is it? Let's try a little thought experiment. Imagine you've got a $10,000 balance sitting on a card at that average 21% rate. Now, if you only ever make the minimum payment each month, how long do you think it would take to be completely debt-free? Take a guess. The answer is just shocking. It would take you around 8 years to pay it off. But here's the worst part. You would end up paying over $14,000 in interest alone. That's right. You'd pay more in interest than the original $10,000 you borrowed. Your debt would end up costing you a grand total of $24,000. This, my friends, is the minimum payment trap. And if you feel this way, you are far from alone. This isn't some fringe experience. A staggering 35% of Americans, we're talking over 90 million people, report feeling completely trapped in this cycle of debt. It is a widespread crisis of financial well-being. And at the exact same time, a very similar crisis is hitting student loan borrowers. For the first time since the pandemic started, aggressive collections are back. Now, what does this mean? It means if you're in default, the government can take up to 15% of your disposable income directly from your paycheck. And get this, without ever even needing a court order. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, wow, this is tough for some people, but I don't have this kind of debt, so it doesn't really affect me. I'm here to tell you that is a huge mistake. This level of household debt creates powerful ripple effects that impact the entire economy, and all of us. Here is the core economic truth. Consumer spending, what you and I buy every day, drives about 70% of our entire economy. So when millions and millions of households are forced to send hundreds, even thousands of dollars a month to the banks as interest, that's money they are not spending on new cars, on home improvements, or at local businesses. And this just sets off a chain reaction, like a set of dominoes. Slower spending means businesses sell less stuff, which then leads them to hire fewer people, or even worse, lay people off. This creates a softer job market for everybody and dramatically widens the wealth gap between those who are earning interest on their investments and those who are paying it on their debts. Okay,
We have laid out the problem in pretty stark detail. So now, let's talk about the solution. Because this isn't about despair, it's about action. Here is a clear, actionable plan to not only escape the debt trap, but to build financial immunity for your future.
Here it is, a straightforward 6-step framework. First, and this is the most important, you have to stop the bleeding. Stop adding to high-interest debt. Then you work to lower your costs by negotiating rates or transferring balances. After that, you attack the debt with a proven strategy. You find more money to fuel the fire, and you refinance where it makes sense. Now, let's focus on that fourth step for a second, the debt avalanche. Why this one? Because mathematically, it is the single best way to pay off debt. By targeting your highest interest rate debt first, usually that 21% credit card, you eliminate your most expensive debt as fast as possible, which saves you the most money in the long run, period. Now, getting out of debt is one thing, but staying out is another challenge entirely. Think of these 3 principles as your permanent defense system. An emergency fund stops future crisis from ending up on a credit card. Treating your credit cards like debit cards, meaning you only charge what you can pay off in full, builds your credit without costing you a dime in interest. And finally, letting your income grow before your lifestyle does, that creates a permanent financial buffer. Look, America's debt situation is a genuine crisis. But moments like these also bring incredible clarity. They force us to look at our finances honestly, and they give us a powerful, powerful motivation to change. For anyone who understands what's happening and takes action, this moment is actually a huge opportunity to build a much stronger financial future. So, let's make this real, because knowledge is only powerful when you actually act on it. So my question to you is, what is one tangible financial move you will make this week based on what we've talked about? Maybe it's starting a tiny emergency fund, or calling your credit card company, or just writing down all your debts to see where you stand. Whatever it is, the time to start is right now.